Alrighty.
Hi, this is Tony Davis from See You There Promotions, and I'm talking this afternoon to Alice Armstrong, who's due to appear at the Black Box in Hastings on, is it the 3rd of November, Alice?
I believe so. Need to
I
double
think it
check.
is. Hi, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. I
Good.
just thought it would be good to catch up ahead of the gig in Hastings so that we could have a bit of a chat to get people ready for your arrival, so to speak, you know. So been a bit of a hectic 12 months for you, hasn't it? Bit of a roller coaster.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I would absolutely say it's been a roller coaster. I've been on the amazing Keeping the Blues Alive cruise in the Mediterranean, hosted by Joe Bonamassa, which was just the most amazing week. I'll remember it for the rest of my life, that's for sure. I released my new EP, Love, Sex and Death, on the 1st of September,
Yeah.
and that has been a joy to do. Sorry, there's a Chinook, I think, going over my house now. So if you hear that, that's what that is.
Okay, no, I
Um,
can't hear that at the moment, so I think we're
oh,
all
okay,
right.
good.
But if you suddenly disappear, I'll assume you've been airlifted
Yes,
somewhere.
upwards. If I
Yeah.
disappear upwards, you'll know what's happened. Yeah, so what with music releases and lots of tours abroad and things, it's been a crazy year so far. Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, there's been a lot of critical acclaim. There's been sort of nominations for Blues Awards, I think.
Yeah, that was, yeah, I've had the pleasure of performing at the UK Blues Awards as well, in London. So really, yeah, very, very uh, proud and humbled, literally, by that. Absolutely.
And I've heard you, or I've seen you described. I can't remember which. I think it might have been the Classic Blues magazine that described you as a force of nature.
Yep. Yeah. Um, that's one of my more favorite quotes for sure. I think my mother would absolutely agree with that as well.
It tends
Um,
it tends to suggest that you've got quite a dominant stage persona.
yeah, a natural show off, I think, is the
Oh,
actual
right. Okay.
way of
Yeah.
putting it. Um, yeah, I'm very confident on stage. I'm not very confident in a party with a load of strangers, but you put me on a stage in front of hundreds or thousands of people, and I'm in my element. So I
Okay.
very much enjoy it.
Good. And when you come to Hastings, yeah, next month, are you bringing a band with you or
Yes, I am
oh,
bringing
a
the band
band?
with me.
Whoa.
I'm not entirely sure how many, if we're going to have the full setup. I can't remember if it's going to be the 6 piece or the 4 piece, but I will absolutely have incredible musicians like Kev Hickman on drums, who is known for performing in bands such as Catfish, of course,
Oh,
the
right.
mighty
Yeah.
Catfish. Um, and also we've got Josh Regal on bass, who not only runs Forge Studios in Oxfordshire, but he also performs with amazing artists like Chrissy Matthews. And we've got the wonderful Ollie Knightsmith on guitar, who is currently doing a lot of work with Jordan McCamper and other amazing artists like that. So
Okay, so sounds like you've surrounded yourself with really, really first-rate musicians.
yes, I don't really have an issue with lacking the drive to, well, not the drive. I think I like to say that I have the audacity to ask the musicians that I love the most to play for me. And
Yeah.
usually it works out okay.
Well, if you don't ask, you don't get, do you?
Absolutely. That's absolutely my motto. Yeah.
And I think I'm finding certainly these days in the music scene, and I think possibly a bit more since COVID, that you know, people are more likely to help each other out now. You know, the a lot of the ego has disappeared, really, hasn't it? Don't you find?
Yeah. Yeah. I would probably agree with that. I hadn't really thought about it much, but yeah, I think after COVID, there's been a bit more of a reset in going back to figuring out what parts of the job do or don't work as well. We've
Mm.
we've all had a bit of a reset and realized during lockdown we missed live shows beyond belief, but it also gave a lot of space for creativity, a lot more time to be doing the bits that we didn't have time to do before. And though despite all of its many downsides to lockdown, one of the very few upsides was that it gave me time to do a sort of retake of stock, I don't know what the phrase is, to reevaluate what parts of the job I would like to focus on more, and also focus on what parts of the job I won't let other people dictate as well.
Okay, that's
Me
interesting.
or the rest of the band. Yeah,
That's interesting.
it's a struggle because venues have to make money, promoters have to make money too, and things like that. But over time, I appreciate that musicians have always struggled with certain parts of the industry, but I think due to streaming and stuff like that, there's a lot of other parts of the industry that are changing in ways that don't serve the musicians at all.
Yeah, I'd agree
So
with that.
yeah, lockdown absolutely put a lot of that into focus for me. So yeah, trying to forge a new way ahead.
Okay, so presumably, you've just had the new EP out,
Yeah.
and my guess is, like most musicians, you're already starting to work on, or you've already got it in the can, or already starting to work on what comes next. So, what
Yeah.
comes next for Alice Armstrong?
Comes next? Well, the weekend after next, I'll be recording some new singles with my gorgeous band. Um, and over the next couple of months, I'm in the planning process of the next EP.
Okay.
So we will be working hard on that next year. I'd like to continuously release singles moving forward. I don't want to have to just wait between EPs or albums, for instance. I'm delaying doing my first album and till whenever the time is right. But until then, I'm going to be just hopefully consistently releasing singles and EPs.
Okay, that obviously pleases people that they have a regular feed of new music from you.
Yeah. And also there isn't a sort of downtime for me either. I enjoy keeping my brain busy and staying active and productive and creative. So a consistent output of music is ideal. So we're going to really try and work to that kind of structure.
Okay. Do you think that's another thing that's changed as well? Before it always used to be the album, but more and
Mm.
more these days you find it's a track, couple of tracks, EP, and
Yeah,
then perhaps an album a bit further down the line. Do you think that that's
sure.
something that younger and newer artists embrace more because of, I was going to say because of streaming, but what I mean is because of the way that music's presented now, really, because
Sure. I think well, we live in a society with a much shorter attention span in general. Um, Albums used to be something, and they still are to a lot of people today. They are works of art, a cohesive, um, yeah, a cohesive collection of your work that you will put out. And they used to sell lots of them and could continue selling lots of them over time, especially when music was only available physically. But now I'm working, musicians now work with things like the algorithms and playlists. I get a lot of my listens on Spotify, for instance, come from something called the release radar, and that gets a lot of listens and maintains a higher average monthly listener number. Um, but that starts to fall off after a couple of weeks after an EP or an album or a single has come out. If you can spend a lot of money on making an album,
Mhm.
which these days you absolutely need to love your music and want to create an album for it to be worth you putting all the time and the money in. And I want to wait until I've got that passionate piece of work that I'm dying to bring out as a cohesive album. Until then, each of my songs are very different. They all have different personalities and styles and genres, and I'm kind of giving each piece its own space right now. Also, I'm self-funded, so creating an entire album is a lot of money to put in.
Sure.
When streams of that album will not get me any kind of income. My
No,
income
absolutely
comes
nothing.
from,
Yeah.
yeah, so I selling merch at shows and actually doing the live shows, which is my favorite part, one of my favorite parts at least of being a musician. Those are where I get my main income. So I'm not afraid to treat my passion as a business. And yeah, we're going to be maintaining our relevance on the release radar by releasing regular material over time rather than large chunks of work with a large amount of space between each album, for instance. So it's very much a different way of thinking about releasing music these
Yeah,
days,
I
thanks to
think that
streaming.
makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
Mm.
I noticed what you said just now about different genres, because when you first came onto my radar, I thought I was going to hear, you know, contemporary blues, really, but it's not like that at all, is it? It's for you. It's there's a bit of that in there. There's a bit of rock in there. There's a bit of soul in there. There's a bit. I think in one or two tracks, I also sort of saw a little bit of jazz in there as well. So is it a fusion of all that sort of thing for you?
I have an extremely eclectic music taste. The blues community has been incredibly welcoming and supportive of me, and I absolutely adore it. I do the odd blues number, pure blues number, especially now. We've got a very fast-paced couple of shuffles in the set now when you come and see us live. But the EP, absolutely, Love, Sex and Death in particular, is a bit of an amalgamation of all of my influences. I was raised on all types of music, but specifically very much the African American music of blues, soul, jazz, absolutely, but also some reggae.
Okay.
And yeah, you can absolutely hear all of those influences, and none of my songs come out the same genre. I think from a marketing perspective, it would be great if they did come out as a cohesive genre, but unfortunately, yet also fortunately, all of my songs come out with a very different personality, which is yeah, very exciting, because I know what genre my next song is going to be.
That's quite interesting. So when you sit down to write, then you don't think, oh, I'm going to write a blues, I'm going to write rocky, I'm going to write jazzy. It just, as it comes out, it comes out.
Sure. The vast majority of the time I write songs from I usually say my most creative places are the shower or my car. I'll start singing random snippets of melodies or come up with some lyrics, and gradually over time they'll develop into something over the next 20 minutes of me driving along in my car singing random things like a mad woman, and I record them on my phone. And then I'll tend to build on that and take it to a guitar player or a piano player, and we'll have chords put underneath and work on an arrangement that way. I could listen to a piece of music somebody sends to me, and then I will put words and a melody over that. That's probably usually one of the best ways that I can control the genre. But if I'm just writing on my own, I don't tend to just sit down and write a song on purpose.
Right.
My creativity absolutely comes when I am doing something else at the same time, usually something fairly productive, like driving to a gig, or I'm in the shower, or I'm doing something with my hands. Then I'll start singing to myself, and I'll have to quite quickly get it recorded down and then work on it at another time. But every song is different, really. Yeah. My favorite way to write, though, is to sit down at a pre-organized time with another musician and then see if we can organically come up with something together. That's very exciting, and you never know what's going to come out. from it. But we might choose a song that we love as inspiration to start from. But I've only done that for maybe 3 or 4 of my songs so far.
Okay. Well, we're looking forward to you coming to Hastings, and we'll see you and give you a welcome at the Black Box. I think it was the 3rd of November. Just let me. I've got the poster in the background, but unfortunately, I can't read what I've got on the poster apart from your name because it's so large. So excuse me. Yeah, it is
Yes,
I'm right. It is the 3rd of
November.
November. Yeah.
3rd of November.
Okay. Well, we'll be seeing you then, and looking forward to that.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it as well.
So until then, until I get to meet you face to face, hope everything goes well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll see you on the 3rd.
Excellent. Can't wait.